I'm not sure
hi.
what day we're talking about.
We're talking about February 11th. That was 2 days ago.
Okay.
And we started out day with breakfast, I think. Who knows?
Yeah.
Don't remember. But then we journeyed down to the Waimangu geothermal valley. So this Rotorua is known for its volcanic soil and geothermal activity and all the spas and things. Really, the highlight at one point of Rotorua was this Waimangu Valley, and it was at the base of a volcano. And coming down to it, there was at the bottom this area that had these white and pink terraces, a whole cascade of white terraces and a whole cascade of pink terraces.
Yes, and they provided these terraces had geothermal baths in them. So people came, they on 4 to 5 months on a ship from mostly England, and arrived in Rotorua and took a train to these terraces in the Victorian era.
Yeah, I guess they were considered the 8th wonder of the world from around 1850 when they were first described to 1886.
And why 1886?
Oh, tell me, dear.
Oh, all right. Well, I'll say huge volcano eruption, just huge. And they were covered in ash and ended up in the bottom of a lake. It's in the crater. So, wow.
So this kind of ended Rotorua's heyday as an 8th wonder of the world natural place to go to. And completely changed the local ecology by burying everything under about 20 foot of ash.
And some Maori villages were covered with mudslides and people died. And so it was a big eruption.
It was. Now the valley is being touted as how the world began. And so you can go there and in one spot sit and look at geothermal springs with, of course, bacteria growing in there, all the way up to different ecologic zones and much more complex things. So
while you're describing that, why don't I see if I can pull this?
Well, here, let's just pause. Well, I can. Oh, now, well, that might work.
Yeah, that works.
That works much better than I thought.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway,
good.
So we went for a hike down the valley, and we started out hiking by this creek, and then it turned into a river, and then a series of lakes, and it was really quite startling and beautiful. And we had a naturalist there that could explain a lot of the things.
And when they say the beginning of the world, this is what they thought much of it looked like. And there were also some plants that were believed to be the first plants. And so that was interesting to see these really primitive plants, which only grow in very few places in the world right now. So it was great.
Right, yeah, there was this one, I don't even know what it was, but they say that was responsible for something like 80% of petroleum production.
Yeah, right.
Anyways, when we got down to the bottom, and we took a bus down to the bigger lake, and we took a boat cruise, and we saw some wildlife, some black swans and some other things, but mostly got a view of various fumaroles, or steam vents, and geysers that were erupting.
There was a geyser that was erupting about every 15 minutes, and so they took the boat really, really close to this cliff where it was arising, and that was really cool.
There she goes. She's quite enthusiastic today too.
Right. And then when that was done, we went back up to the center for it. Had a nice panini lunch. People did some shopping, and then we returned to Rotorua. And en route to Rotorua, we stopped at a place that has, they call them mud baths. You know, they're these eruptions of superheated water coming up through these clay layers that bubbled and frost and shot things up.
Yeah, it was really, really wonderful to see. It's great.
And they collect,
Bubbling clay,
yeah.
bubbling mud.
There are some more down the
And then they take this clay and I guess originally it was you could be in spas of it, but now they bottle it and can it and put it into tubes and stuff, and you can use it on your face, and we're told that maybe in the future when you see us, we'll look
Younger.
We'll look 20 years younger because of this.
Yes, I'm definitely going to get some.
Right. They sold me on it too. Anyways, after the mud baths, we went on what was touted as a canopy tour, and travel advisors worldwide
Number one nature adventure worldwide is what they have printed on their vans. I don't know who rated them, but
well, we had a little bit of nature, but mostly it was zip lining around between trees, which was fun. It wasn't
it was
very
fun. It was
educational.
very safe. They had double strands, and they hooked you onto the zip line with 2 strands. I guess in case one broke, I don't know, but it was very, very safe. They were very careful, and that was nice. And they had these blocks on the zip line that, as you came in, you hit the block. I mean, you didn't, but your equipment did, and that slowed you way down, and then you just lightly went into the ending place. So that was really nice.
Yeah. And it was nice to be up in these big trees. And while we were on the ground and looking around, we saw some traps. And it turns out that this group is also involved in trying to restore the forest. And part of their way of doing that is to trap these animals. And so there's 3 types of animals that they were mostly trapping. Yeah.
And before you say that, what I would like to say is that prior to the arrival of man on New Zealand, which wasn't all that long ago, like in the 1300s, I think, right? The Maori.
Yeah.
There were no animals that were predators of the birds. And the birds evolved so that all of the birds in New Zealand nest on the ground. So they're vulnerable to these predators. So the Maori brought rats that they ate. And so the island became populated with some rats. And of course, then there were the rats that came on board ships. And you want to say some of the other animals that arrived, all of these eat bird eggs or birds.
Yeah. And one of the animals that the English brought were rabbits so that they could hunt them. But then the rabbits overpopulated. It's like the Australia story. So they brought over stoats, which are small weasel-like animals. And the stoats ate everything except, well, they ate everything. They were carnivores. And they also brought over possums from Australia. And these were these bushy or brush-tailed possums. They don't look like our possums, but they have a kind of a special fur that has air entrapped in it, and so it's really insulatory. And the reason that they brought these little animals over is they thought that, they're just these little animals, and we can harvest this fur, and we don't have any fur, and it's a cold climate. So they brought them over for their fur. Well, pretty quickly, they changed from these short little herbivores to pretty big. So they went from about this big to about that big. I think this is true. She laughs at me.
It's
but
a little
I
bigger
think that
than
these are true.
they were. But maybe. It's okay.
I'm including the tail.
Oh, well then, right. Then it is that big.
Anyways, they were big. And anyway, so right now in the stores you see a lot of merino and possum wool.
Yeah,
sweaters, which we've never seen before.
Right, and
but
they're
it
very
feels
soft,
very smooth.
and scarves, and
Right. So anyways, they're trapping these and killing them, which is really good for the ecology. So we had a nice zip line. That was fun. It was very safe. Learned just a tiny bit of biology. The trees were magnificent. I mean, some of them were 800 years old. Yeah, they were really neat.
yeah, they were great.
And then we came into town. We went out to dinner at a place called Urbano, and I had some wonderful lamb, and Terry had some. I shouldn't describe your dinner.
That's all right. I had fish. I had I can't even pronounce the name of it. It started with a G. And
Yeah.
so anyway, it was a mild whitefish.
It was like a garret or garnet. It was a freshwater fish, they said. And we both had some yummy Pinot Noir. And that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Oh, can I say the Pinot Noir is from a part of New Zealand known for its really rich tasting Pinot Noirs. It's Otago. And so, boy, I'm going to look for some of that when we get back.
I think we're going to drive there just to get some of this.
Yeah, maybe we should.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okie doke.
Bye.
Ta-ta. Bye. Love you.
Love.